This is the Viltrox AF 35mm f1.8 FE full frame lens for Sony cameras. Now I've owned and used this lens on my Sony cameras, both full frame and APS-C, for about 2 years now. And I gotta say, this lens is extremely sharp. The image quality is very good on this lens. The only thing to mention when it comes to image quality is the close focus distance isn't really as close as you'd kind of expect or really hope to get out of a lens. There were actually times where I got kind of close up, not even extremely close, but it just wouldn't focus. But the build quality of this lens is fully made out of metal, including the aperture and focus rings. This entire lens is made out of metal, and even the lens mount in the back here. And you can see there's also a USB-C port for upgrading the firmware, which is really cool to see. However, while we're on the back here, there is no weather sealing gasket, which means this lens is not weather sealed in any way. And so right here I have a Sony a6000. I'm gonna go ahead and put this lens on just so you can see what this lens looks like on a Sony camera. And you can see this pairs perfectly with pretty much any Sony camera. It's not extremely heavy, even though it has that great build quality. This 35mm f1.8 focal length is great in low light, as well as 35mm is my personal favorite focal length. It's not extremely wide, but it's also not super zoomed in as well. It's very versatile for really almost any types of videos and photos. The only real issue I have with this lens is the focus and the aperture rings aren't the best quality, especially the aperture ring. This isn't very dampened or smooth or anything like that. There's kind of this like rubbing noise when you turn it. It really doesn't feel the best, but you can always switch over to the A and control your aperture just with your camera, which is personally what I do. And besides that, the autofocus is very fast. There is no stabilization, but the image quality, autofocus, sharpness, everything like that on this lens is very good for its price point, and I would highly recommend this lens.